education sector in the country. The focus of this year's summit has been skill development. Skill development is one of the primary mandates of the Narendra Modi government, looking to transform the skill gamut in the country. The country has an opportunity to reap the potential demographic dividend, and the government has recognized this need and launched the Skill India mission. With an ambitious target of a skilled India, where over 100 million people will be trained, the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has initiated a slew of measures to attain this target. We look to deliberate and discuss the vision and focus of the central government and the states as they embark upon this ambitious mission. Vocational education and skill development has become a dire need to improve the productivity and efficiency of the youth in the country. It is absolutely necessary to have skilled workforce for rapid economic growth, high productivity, and reduction of unemployment. India has about 69% of its population between 16 to 29 years. Greater efforts have to be taken to provide vocational education and training so that employability of people increases worldwide. The 5th World Education Summit, today and tomorrow, will discuss the paradigm of skill education and the significance of skill development in the creation of a knowledge-sharing society. With thought leaders and the who's who of the education sector present on this platform, WS 2015 will add wings to the skill development initiative of the government. Elets in digital learning has been over the years providing a knowledge-sharing platform and connecting the key stakeholders in the field of education to enable a healthy and concrete dissemination of ideas. With presence from academia, industry, thought leaders, and policymakers, the last 4 years of WES have brought the best of the minds and views on the same platform. We hope the 5th edition too will be able to bring forth some fresh perspective and concrete ideas that will shape the future of the education in the country. I would now like to invite Dr. Ravi Gupta, CEO, Elets Technomedia, to brief us about the World Education Summit and its journey. Dr. Gupta. Slight change of program. I would like to invite our colleague Ishwinder here to please present a presentation on the World Education Summit. Ishwinder.
Good morning, everyone. We would like to call our distinguished guests who have joined us for the inaugural session to please join us on stage. Dr. Diljit Singh Cheema, Honorable Minister, Department of School Education, Government of Punjab. I would request everybody to give a round of applause when we ask him to join us on stage. Mr. Madan Mohan Mittal, Honorable Minister, Department of Technical Education, Government of Punjab. Ms. Kaltoum Al-Balushi, Executive Director, Education Department, Knowledge and Human Development Authority, Dubai. Dr. Abdullah Al-Shibli, the Director General of the Colleges of Applied Sciences, Ministry of Higher Education, the Sultanate of Oman. Mr. Rishi Khemka, CEO, ARK Info Solutions Private Limited, Mindbox. Mr. Andrew Taggart, Acting Vice Chancellor, Mudrock University. We'd like to thank our distinguished guests to join us for the inauguration. Mr. Ishwinder would take over.
Very good morning to all the guests, all the key dignitaries in the inaugural session. So we'll start with brief introduction about our company, Elets Technomedia. So So majorly in one line if I define what we do is like we promote ICTs, ideas and innovation for nation building. So we work majorly in India with a focus on South Asia as well. So we'll proceed with our journey. We started our journey in 1997 and we are a leading institution working in ICT advocacy in development sector. We are home to popular media brands and conferences with like in education, governance, healthcare, financial inclusion and BFSI and infrastructure. So our strategic focus lies in various technologies and the key trends around in these domains like financial inclusion, power and energy, healthcare, education, BFSI, innovations, mobility, security and smart cities. So we work with like policymakers to the practitioners. So all the people working in this industry from like the practitioner at the grassroots level to the top policymakers, we work with them. So we basically provide knowledge sharing platforms to discuss latest trends, emerging technologies and collaboration opportunities through print, digital and face-to-face initiatives. So majorly we have few publications, we have knowledge portals, we have summits and awards. So and we do organize the expos. So the World Education Summit is one of those summits we organize. Our like we publish 4 publications in like monthly publication in print version. One is eGov, with then digital learning, eHealth and BFSI post, banking and finance post. So we have knowledge portals which enjoy readership, huge readership of like we have huge newsletter subscription. We send weekly newsletters to them. We have huge social media following. We have good Alexa ranking which rank all the portals. These are link of our knowledge portals. We majorly, these are the main 7 knowledge portals we have. In each domain, like e-governance is catered by eGov website, then digital learning, it focuses on education. E-health, it focuses on healthcare industry. Banking and finance post, it focuses on banking and finance sector. And we have a smart city, which focus on holistically on smart city concepts. And we have ICE Connect, it focuses on infrastructure domain. And we organize, like we conduct these workshops and we conduct various one-to-one interviews in our this like in this journey. So we compile all those on elets TV. You can go through it and access all the videos and interviews on tv.eletsonline.com. We organize landmark summits with a visionary approach and well-defined sessions, and which provides unique opportunity to engage with broad range of stakeholders. And it catalyzes partnerships and collaboration at various levels. So these are few glimpses of our events. We have like key dignitaries of the country have been participating in our conferences. These are the glimpses of some of the conferences outside India. Like we had witnessed the prime ministerial level participation in various countries of South Asia. These are few glimpses of our awards we did in various parts of the country and South Asia. These are the glimpses of our expos. You can witness one of our expo in the adjacent hall. So this is our global presence which we have done. We have majorly explored 8 countries including India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Thailand, China, Switzerland, Tunisia. So these are our key initiatives in India. With major, like we do almost in all parts of the country, we organize these kind of conferences in various sectors we operate in. So we did this conference in Bangladesh, which was inaugurated by then Prime Minister of Srimati Sheikh Hasina, and we did a huge expo over there and the award night, which honored almost all the key leaders of the ICT industry in South Asia. So in order to register the presence of our e-Asia conference, a postage stamp was launched during this summit by Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh. It was launched by Bangladesh Post, so you can see the glimpses of the same. So we did in Sri Lanka. These are few of the glimpses, like President inaugurated our Sri Lanka e-Asia. Then we did in Malaysia. We did in Thailand. We have also worked in like China, UK, Abu Dhabi, Greece, European Union and African, like entire continent. We have done various projects. Few of our key projects include that we have done a capacity building workshop of government officials of various departments in multiple countries including India and Abu Dhabi. We have in fact restructured the survey of India and done a capacity building workshop with them. It was a huge project in survey of India when we did it. So we also initiated mapping the neighborhood project. It was one of the prime project of DST, and the currently, like you all are from education industry, you might be aware about national policy on ICT in school education. So we were the people who initiated the process of formulating this policy. Now it is a live policy. It was then debated in like parliament, and now it is a policy which is benefiting all the entire like education industry. We also worked with Institute of Development Studies in UK, and we developed a entire ICT for development guide over there, which is like helping all the researchers across globe. So we have also done key projects with WHO. We have done with Media Lab Asia, Gram Chitra. It was one of the prime projects done in India. We were engaged with telecenter.org, like telecenter movement since its inception. So these are few of our international partners, like from various countries. We have worked with them. These are some of our government partners, like some of our corporate partners who are making these conferences like to help us like organize this. These are few of the PSU partners, few banking partners, and these are some of the academic partners. So now we are going to Dubai in 2015 November. So we will be organizing World Education Summit Dubai. This will be the first time when we will be going out of country, and the aim of organizing World Education Summit Dubai is to facilitate cross-border collaboration in education, so that innovations are happening in various countries. Like in India, like if we talk about India, we have huge innovations happening in education industry, and so in many other countries. So we will be going in Dubai and calling the education fraternity from across the entire globe, and we will be discussing and deliberating on the key facts, and knowledge sharing sessions will be like there. So we'll like we announced like World Education Summit in Dubai, with focus on facilitating the cross-border collaboration in education. We will discuss the challenges and opportunities in education sector across globe. The summit will further re-emphasize and build on the resolution from 5 glorious years of World Education Summit. So, thank you and welcome to World Education Summit.
Thank you, Shwinder. I would now request my colleague Seema to welcome our guests of honor. Dr. Daljit Singh Seema, Honorable Minister, Department of School Education, Government of Punjab. Ms. Khaldoom Al-Balushi, Executive Director, Education Development, Knowledge and Human Development Authority, Dubai. Dr. Abdullah Al-Shibli, the Director General of the Colleges of Applied Sciences, Ministry of Higher Education, the Sultanate of Oman. And Mr. Rishi Khemka, CEO, Chief Enjoyment Officer, ARK Info Solutions Private Limited, Mindbox. Thank you so much. May I now request Ms. Al-Balushi, Executive Director, Education Development, Knowledge and Human Development Authority, Dubai, to please join us and share her vision with us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Independence Day. I know it's been already 15th of August and we are now today on the 21st, but then it's never too late to say that. Thank you for the invitation and thanks for attending the summit today. I'm very delighted to represent Dubai and represent the education government in Dubai to actually share with you the education development in Dubai and the growth opportunities and the future opportunities for new schools and new higher education to come to Dubai. For those people who don't know Dubai, if you know, Dubai is in the center of the Middle East. So it's in the center where people actually go for trading, for actually being in the transit, when it used to be before and at the moment as well. Maybe to start a little bit with the education history and how foreign education started in Dubai. Long time ago, we know that we have a lot of traders coming from India for spice and gold. And then, a little by little, the community of the Indian become really big in Dubai. So there was a need for a school. So in 1961, there was the first Indian community school in Dubai to serve the need of the Indian community that are living in Dubai. So that was the first private schools in Dubai. After a couple of years, definitely, the city grow. We need maybe some support with army, we need some support with defense. So the second private schools opened. And the second private schools was with offering the UK curriculum school for the UK community, because we were trying to get support from the UK officials to support us with defense, with army, with the structure. Then later on, a couple of years back, there was the oil. So we discovered the oil in Dubai. So there was a need for a country to help us with how can we take this oil back, how can we invest that oil. Then the third private schools opened, which was the American Community School. So to serve the community, the American community that are resident in Dubai. So moving from 3 schools, which were basically serving the community, like start with the first one was Indian, the second was the British, the third were American. Now we're talking about a huge difference. We're talking about 169 schools offering 16 different curriculum. Japanese, Filipino, IB, Indian. We just added one of the schools that will be offering the Swiss qualification as well. We're talking about 255,000 students at the moment attending private schools in Dubai. We're talking about 120 different nationalities attending different schools in Dubai, which represent the market and the citizens who are living in Dubai. And if I take a snapshot of the Indian education in Dubai, we're talking about 31 schools that are offering Indian curriculum, which is targeting almost 80,000 students attending this 31. The Indian education considered from the school market is 13% of the schools market in Dubai. However, from the student population, it's considered 30% of the students market. Those schools already been inspected. 50% of them are providing good or better quality of education. And in those Indian curriculum schools, there are 90 different nationalities. Yes, majority of them start with our Indian, Pakistani, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, but 90 different nationalities are attending Indian curriculum schools. We're talking about almost $200 million. That's the revenue cost of the private schools education, which is offering the Indian curriculum in Dubai. And this is actually, if we talk about the average of fees, we're talking about $2,000 to $3,000 per year, which is the fees raised on those schools. Looking at the current growth of the market, we're expecting that 5% to 7% growth of the market in every year. So after calculating the growth and after calculating the different changes that will happen up to 2020, we're expecting 70 new schools to be added to the market. 40% of those schools will be actually offering an Indian curriculum schools. Those Indian curriculum schools, definitely we know that might come from the expansion within the market. So like one of the schools could expand and open other branch. Schools are actually in other Emirates who want to expand to Dubai. But I think the market of schools in Dubai is actually growing really fast and in a very different way. Currently, the parents are very aware of the education and the expectation. So what they are looking for, it's a very different quality of education. So we've seen over the last 5 years, the Indian curriculum school have changed. So they're offering CBSE, they're offering other part of the CBSE curriculum, they're adding EYFS, which is part of the English curriculum within their curriculum of delivery. They've added IB qualification into their graduation for their students. So we've seen very much different kind of changes happening to the Indian curriculum school. So what Dubai needs now is something very different. Maybe if we looked at the number and we looked at the growth rate and we looked at what the quality that Dubai is looking at, we think maybe this should be enough for Dubai. Why Dubai is looking for more? Why Dubai wants a new thing? But actually, Dubai wants to build on what it has. And Dubai wants to build on the expertise of the Indian schools in India. So one of the things we would like to do is actually to invite quality Indian curriculum school from India to come and establish a branch in Dubai. Because they've been in the market, they've delivered excellent education, and we want them to come and to have an exit in Dubai. Because the parents of the Indian communities and the parents who really prefer Indian education would like to have that brand. And that's actually a new addition to the market. So we really expect a huge growth coming in the coming years. And actually the new schools that will be opening from now until 2020 will represent almost 65% of the market. And for the first time in many years of the establishment of the country, one of the major national agenda targets in 2020 and 2021 is to actually to reach the highest grade in TIMSS and PISA, which is the international assessment. So that's why we as government, we make sure that we support all the new schools to come and establish in Dubai. However, we have 3 priorities for those schools before they come and establish in Dubai. Number 1 is quality, second is quality, and third is quality. Because we have national agenda target to reach. So before anyone to come, we need to make sure that they are having a high quality track record and they will support the development of Dubai. The moment this one is ensured, we have a separate team within KHDA that will never walk alone with those investors and with those schools to actually come and establish in Dubai. So they will take their hands and for them to understand the market and to actually to go and establish in Dubai. I hope that was a very good snapshot to tell you what Dubai is looking for, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. It was indeed an insightful journey into the education world of Dubai. May I now request Dr. Abdullah Al-Shibli, the Director General of the Colleges of Applied Sciences, Ministry of Higher Education, the Sultanate of Oman, to come and share a few words with us. A round of applause, please.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think my presentation will be very short. Just being aware that I have to give a speech just last night, so it will be very quick. Oman is not far away from United Arab Emirates from Dubai. They are our neighbor. We are located in the southeast Arabian Peninsula. In Oman, we have 2 ministries looking after education. We have Ministry of Education, who look at about the school education, and then we have Ministry of Higher Education. I will talk about the higher education, Oman Ministry of Higher Education in Oman. In Oman, we have something around 62 higher education institutions. More than half of them are private ones. We have only 1 government university, which is Sultan Qaboos University, which started in 1986. And then we have 7 colleges of technology. They are government institutions, and 6 colleges of applied sciences. We have 1 college for military. And then we have other private universities and colleges. We have something around 7 private universities distributed all over the countries. The access is not a problem in Oman. I think more than 80% from the school leavers, they got a seat in higher education institution inside Oman, or they get a scholarship to study abroad. However, since we talk about the skills and the challenges facing the higher education sectors in Oman or in a globe, we do have many challenges, but I will concentrate into 2 challenges. One is, I call them the 2 gaps. We thought in Oman we do have 2 main gaps. One, there is a gap between school leavers and the skills needed for higher education institutions. And then we believe there is a gap between higher education institutions leaver and then skills needed for the job market. And really, to understand these problems, we need to look at the culture as well. It's not only those problems. In Oman, we do have central admission office. All students who need to study in higher education, they need to go through the central admission office. It's electronic system and it's provide transparency and fairness to all students. And you can go through the system and check why you get the seat and not the others. So there is kind of transparency. We do have Oman accreditation, academic accreditation agency to make sure that all higher education institutions, they have kind of quality and make sure they provide a good education for our students. We also have the Research Council, who's a fund bodies for research to help higher education institutions to do research and to develop as well. Putting all these in mind, still there is some people believe that there is a mismatch between the skills needed for a job market and the skills given by the higher education institutions. Let's concentrate first on the gap between school levels and skills needed for higher education. Many academics think that there is missing skills like the critical thinking skills, scientific thinking skills, English, mathematics. There's a major issue. For that, most higher education institutions in Oman, they have foundation year. The aim for this year just to bridge the gap between the skills needed for higher education institutions and school levels. If you think about that, it means a cost. The government bear cost for that. So we do the foundation year as a remedial action to solve the problem. But then we just established the strategy for education for Oman 2040. And then we believe we need to invest more in school education. So when they come to higher education institution, they have the needed skills for higher education. Let's move to the other challenge, which is the gap between skills needed for a job market and the higher education institutions graduates. I think there is a cultural issue here in this issue as well. Most people in Oman, they would like to work with government or big companies. They don't want to start their own business. And if you think about the government and the situation of Oman, most of our population are young population. So we do have people who go to job market, but we don't have many of them who leave the job market. And the government cannot take or employ more graduates. I think part of the issue is the culture there. The culture, the people, they don't want to start their own business. As a ministry, we start a department. This department aims to study this gap between the skills needed for a job market and higher education and the skills provided by higher educations. This independent body to study whether the higher education institutions provide the right skills for the job market or not. We just started this department. They do kind of surveys, they give some advice, and at the same time we encourage higher education institutions to revise their curriculum, their programs, and try to just build a good relation with the industries. This is one of the main ways just to bring the gap between the graduates and the needs for the job markets. In the same time, the Oman Academic Accreditation Agency, one of the main standards is the employability of their graduates. In other way, we just encourage higher education institutions to establish a good link with the industry and try to provide their graduates with the skills needed for a job market. We also introduced KPI system for the all higher education institutions in order, and we put one of the main KPI there, just the link with the industry. We hope this will help just to reduce the
talk about the why. So why does Mindbox exist, and what is our cause? What is our belief? And I would like to start that with a question. What do you think is our most valuable asset? What is it that differentiates us human beings from everybody else on the planet? If you think of it, it's our mind, and it's our ability to think and express ourselves. So how do we think and express ourselves? So I want you to think of orange monkeys. And I'm sure the moment I say orange monkeys, you won't be writing it down. All of you put an image inside your head of an orange monkey. So we think in pictures, but we also think in words. And the two ways how we communicate is visual and verbal. As we go along more in the digital world, I'm hearing all about digital age, there is an ever so need to not only communicate verbally, but to communicate visually. And that is something where we come into place. So let's see this example. A lot of you can identify the words in the language, but if this picture comes in front of you, it's universal. It doesn't need a language to explain what this thing is. And well, you would say, yeah, we do that. I mean, we have our books and there's images there which kids can understand. So we as educators have excelled at making kids imagine, making them explore, making them ideate, and making them create. What we need to do is now to give them a language to make them store that information. So if a child thinks of a concept of a new chair, he or she can't write it down. They have to make it, or they have to store it somewhere. And frankly, ideas are organisms. If we don't store them, they're going to die, or in the daily hustle bustle of life, people forget things. So we need a language which not only enables us to store, it not only enables us to express, but to communicate, and what we call as visual language. So let me show that with an example. We have English as a language which we all communicate. There are 26 alphabets. So if I want to make a sentence, a book is on a table. I would pick the words out of the language, and I would make the sentence. But if you see this sentence, it's grammatically wrong. And we need to understand grammar, we need to get the spellings right. But what we say is visual language is the best way how we understand. So let's say if visual language had alphabets, and I could communicate the same thing in visual ways, which doesn't need a grammar, and it would mean the same thing. And that's something what we do at Mindbox. So as you see, it's everything coming from those 8. And we say it's 8 alphabets, and everything comes from there. So I would like to show a brief video on Mindbox to all of you. How do we do this? How do we spark learning in a child? There are 3 very important things that we do to make sure that happens. The first is curiosity. So if you see the video you just saw, there's a lot of areas around technology there. And
rise that spark of curiosity in a child, because the moment they see those things, they want to learn. So if their mind opens up, knowledge can go in. And frankly, these areas touch parts of children's being that otherwise would not get touched in conventional academic way. So the moment curiosity is aroused, they are willing to learn. And then we have an approach which is two-pronged. So first is a project-based approach where we talk about an output mechanism. So I would just like to explain what do you mean by output. Now all of us have different ways how kids learn. They learn through textbooks. We have digital classrooms now, which is a norm. We have internet where they go and explore. We have television, various ways. But all these mechanisms are input mechanisms. In a world which we don't know how it's going to look even 5 years from now, the kids need to have an output mechanism. And the output mechanism can only come if they experience, if they do things. So through the project-based learning, they are doing projects on their own in any of those areas so that they are learning by the go. During the project, they learn through the process of trial and error. And we provoke the way how we keep questions with our faculty. So there is no one single right answer. So it's always about thinking and how do you provoke that. And then we move into a design-based approach where whatever they've learned in the project, they then explore those concepts, they understand about how they can get more information around it, and then we follow the design cycle. So every child creates their own individual creation in which they get feedback, they get update, and then they rework and revise and repeat on that. So when you look at all these three processes, it's something which breeds creativity. This is an example of a lab we built in a school in Chennai, which is going to go live on Monday. And we call as a creativity and design lab. And this is something which we do in schools, and this is the first one ever to come into in India. And what we have tried to create is an environment when a child walks into a room, they're just thinking to create. And if we are able to achieve that, we've done our jobs. So everything in the room has been designed keeping the child in mind. So if you go through, it's right, so we will do the entire setup, being the furniture, be it the infrastructure. What we probably need is the space. So we cover primary and secondary in the schools area, and it's important to understand what real benefit children are getting out of this. And we talk about in primary, we're basically improving the hand-eye coordination by doing hands-on activities. We're even improving social skills because they are working on areas where they work in teams, in groups, and that helps improve that area of collaboration, working in a group activity. And then it improves their imagination. When it comes to secondary, I don't need to explain much of these terms. This is what it improves on. So let us see an examples of some schools that are already implemented Mindbox in their schools, and both for primary and secondary, and what examples do they have. Can we switch to the second video?
Educationists, we do cater to the needs of children. Children, the way they learned in the past is not the way they are learning in the present. Class 1 and 2, if you look at, they are given clay animation. They meddle with the clays and like how they knead the dough. And I have seen class 1, 2 children write superb, better handwriting, both in Tamil and English. Their eye coordination changed a lot, thanks to clay animation, clay modeling, which gave them good psychomotor development.
I think it's a beautiful program. It begins with creativity. So creativity as a subject, yes, I think that's a fantastic idea, because to consciously inculcate creative thinking in children is very, very important, and not leaving it to chance. If you have a good self-expression, then it ultimately makes your communication effective. And that is getting beautifully communicated through the various technology, usage of technology. Children are so techno-savvy these days that if you ultimately make them create through technology, they are going to create wonders, and I'm sure Mindbox is training them in that direction.
Somebody thought differently, somebody thought creatively. Therefore, I think creative thinking, because it's a skill, can also be inspired, can be taught, and can be encouraged. There is a certain imaginative thought in each one of the child that we nurture. That imagination will find its expression in a creative form. The creative forms are as many minds as you can think of. It can take the form of art, it can take the form of writing, it can take the form of very great expressions today, more increasingly so with the digital support. Children are able to create what they want, and therefore it is something that can be taught, it is something that can be inspired.
At the Shivnala School, I think we did a wonderful job because our IT curriculum is not a standalone curriculum which are just a group of activities, but it is actually going very skillfully into the program. Like for example, in Mindbox, we're doing animation, we're doing graphic design, we've got programming and sound production. And children are doing it very seriously from all the way from grade 6 to grade 9. And there would be a capstone at the end of it. And there are standards, there are benchmarks. So it's done, there's a whole trajectory. And while children are enjoying themselves, they're learning all the 21st century skills. And when they are in positions of responsibility, authority, and they have the wherewithal to be able to change the world, they will be able to.
Right, so at the end, I would just come back to the why. So why do we exist as an organization? And this is our why we exist. Whatever we do, we believe in improving lives. And how we do it is by empowering them. And that is why Mindbox exists, ladies and gentlemen. We have another session today in this very room, where we go into more details on visual language and how this can really help the kids of tomorrow. We are even present in the higher education space where we are more focused on the areas of simulation, and we have a session on that today as well. So I would welcome you all to any of those sessions if you want to see and understand in more details. We are there throughout the day as well. And yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khemka. May I now request Dr. Daljit Singh Cheema, the Honorable Minister, Department of School Education, Government of Punjab, to please come and share a few words.
All the senior dignitaries on the dais, I feel honored and privileged to be part of the 5th World Education Summit. I appreciate and congratulate the Center for Science Development and Media and elets Techno Media Private Limited for organizing such a nice event. I am happy to note that the Education Summit is focusing on the skill development, school education, higher education, and vocational education. I have come from my state to share my experiences and my ground realities, which I have seen in 1 year of my experience as Education Minister. And I hope the CEOs of various companies who are working in the field of education, for promoting education, for promoting quality education, will definitely suggest me some ways that how we can improve the education system of our country. Although everything is important, but for me the most important thing is the primary education. And I have no hesitation to say that in the government sector and in the whole of the country, at present the primary education is in shambles. You are well aware of the surveys which are being conducted by various NGOs that these days the students of the 5th standard, they can't read what the student of 2nd standard is supposed to read. We passed the Right to Education Act in 2009. It helped us in many ways. But the hurry with which we introduced this act in this country, without preparing the ground, it has played a havoc with the primary education of our country. The new system of evaluation, CCE, it was introduced. But the teacher was not trained properly in time, and now the quality of education at the level of primary education, it has gone much down. Day before yesterday, there was a meeting of Central Advisory Board of Education, which is the highest policy-making body of the country. And you will be surprised to know that all the education ministers of different states of the country, cutting across policy lines, everybody demanded that 2 clauses of the Right to Education Act, one is no detention policy, and other, the introduction of examination system at the level of 5th and 8th class, they should be reintroduced. Nobody, all the education ministers, whatever the party to he or she may belong, everybody demanded that we should abandon this system, we should work back to the old system. And this system has given an excuse to most of the teachers that there is no need to teach. When you not fail any student, then nobody is feeling the responsibility. So I hope when this system is changed, I hope the education system and the primary education system of this country will revive again. The second worry is that there was a study in Punjab about few years back that the students who study from rural areas, from those only less than 4% of them they go to the professional colleges of the university. We have 70% of the population living in the rural areas. But out of those 70%, if less than 4% they join the universities and the professional colleges, what will be the future of the country? That we must all think. So now the senior education, they are also sitting here. All the companies who are working for the promotion of education, they are also sitting here. We must sit together and find some solution for this problem. And I think this present summit, this will help a long way in solving all these problems. The third major problem, which my friend from Oman was also saying, that today we have large number of engineering colleges in the country. Thousands and thousands of students, they are getting degrees every year. But after getting degree, they are not getting the job they want to do. And on the other side, when you go to the industry, when you go to the service sector, they say that we want this type of stuff, but we don't get the required stuff. There is a gap between our training and the demands of the industry and the demands of the service sector. So we need to link education with the industry. We need to link education with the service sector. And I am thankful to the Honorable Prime Minister that he has started with the mission, the idea of skill development in the whole of the country. And I also feel honored that my Chief Minister, he has been given the task of framing the policy. He is the head of the panel of Chief Ministers who has been given the task of framing the policy for skill development. So in Punjab also, we have started many skill centers in the whole of the state. We have started skill development with the National Skill Development Corporation in 400 schools in this year. And we are about to expand this in years to come. And I hope this new idea of skill development, which has been initiated by the Honorable Prime Minister, this will help the youth of India in the years to come. In the end, I say that all of associate together, all the stakeholders, the policymakers, the planners, the parents, the teachers, and the students. And the one thing which I forgot, that also I want to share with you, that teacher training is most important these days. Recently I had a very bitter experience. In Punjab, in the board examination of matric, 60,000 students failed in English. So I called teachers from different districts of Punjab. I invited 10 teachers who had the lowest result from all the 22 districts of Punjab for a meeting. And in the meeting, I gave them a piece of paper and requested them, please write in few words, what are the reasons of your poor performance? And second thing I said, okay, write down few suggestions, how to improve it. And you will be shocked to know that out of 220, I have that record with me. If you want to see, you can come to me. Out of 220, there were hardly 30 teachers who could write correctly. There were 10 to 15 mistakes in one line, in case of some teachers. So this shows the ground reality. So we must think to that level. From where there, only we can, if we pick up from there, only then we can be successful and we can move forward. So out of 220, only 30 could write, and they were English teachers. Some of them told me that they were SS teachers, so they did mistakes. I again checked the record, and they were not SS teachers. They were English lecturers. They were English teachers, qualified teachers. And they did so many mistakes. So these are the areas where we must focus, and I hope the deliberations which are going to be held here will definitely take care of these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the insights. May I now request Dr. Ravi Gupta, CEO, Elets Technomedia, to please come and join us on stage, please. A round of applause. We would now have the launch of a special edition of Digital Learning magazine dedicated to the entire education fraternity. Please. A generous round of applause, please. from the skill development gamut in the entire country. So we hope you have feedback for us after you go through the edition. We would also have the launch of a special brochure for our upcoming summit in Dubai. As WS goes global, we have the launch of the brochure also. A round of applause for the summit going global. Tentatively planned for the month of November, the summit will touch the global shores for the first time. A round of applause, please. May I now request Dr. Ravi Gupta to please propose a vote of thanks.
Namaskar and good morning to everyone. Welcome everyone. This is the 5th year of the World Education Summit and this is the 10th year of the Digital Learning Magazine. This magazine we launched a decade back when almost no one was talking about ICT in education, either in schools or other in colleges. And as you just heard from the Honorable Minister, the status of teachers and the status of schools in a sample state, the state of affairs is that the hard-hitting reality is that state of affairs in the remote parts of India is very, very bad in terms of both school education and higher education. And we thought around a decade back that ICT was one of very important tools to help bridge the gap between urban and rural education or rich and poor education. Things have evolved, things have changed over 10 years, but as we all know, more the things change, more they remain the same. And that is the status. So